ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everybody, all around the world, hello and welcome to another episode of The Watch with me, host, Jean-Luc Watch. Make some noise, clap it up, get excited wherever you are. We are back with another action-packed show for you today, covering the world of boxing and beyond on this Tuesday edition of The Watch. We come to you 3 days out the week, covering the world of boxing, NFL, NBA, all that stuff with you all along for the ride. We appreciate you all and your support. We done made it through all the way to Tuesday, and we got so much in store. Talking about the world of Tank versus Jake Paul. Yes, I know normally we don't want to talk about it. However, in the framework of some interesting sentiments that came out of the recent press conference regarding Tank specifically, we're going to touch on that, as well as with the power dynamic and the shift with Benavidez in the aftermath of all this stuff with Crawford and Canelo. Now with Benavidez on the other side of the mountain, looking down from 175 at light heavyweight. All of a sudden, he has said something on a recent interview that bodes true for what exactly he's able to control in his career, which right now is looking mighty close to the point that he's got all the cards in his deck, and he has all the power at this point in time with regarding the bigger fights and the major steps we've been waiting on for him to get in his career. He now is in position to get all of those all at once, and we're going to talk about that right here on the show. But again, before we even get into all that, quick introduction for the show. Hey, I'm Jean-Luc Roach. This is The Watch Report. If you're just tuning in, hey, leave a like on the stream. Go ahead, come on, get the likes up on this show. We can't do this without your support. Helps to make the algorithm see that we got a great show going on that people will want to be tuned into. Helps to put this show out, push this show out to the masses. So please be sure that you go through and you like the stream, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Come on and join the empire. Come be a part of this conglomerate, this monolith that we're building all together. Also be sure to hit the notification bell so you know whenever we post right here on YouTube, and share the show with everybody that you know so we can keep on building up this empire together, all with you and your support. We can make this possible. We can't do this without you, and you all sharing the show, telling people about what we got going on, and letting the world see exactly what we got going on right here on this show. It helps make a major difference. It helps to make this show bigger, better, and grander for the world to be able to witness and enjoy. Oh, and also, if you want to comment your thoughts and opinions, put it in the chat down below, and we can bring it up on the screen for everybody to see exactly what you got to say and have your voice be a part of the global conversation that we're going to have. So we want to hear from you. We want to see your dialogue. We want to see your viewpoints. We want to help you to be able to make this show great by having your voice be meaningful all throughout the day right here on the show. So we appreciate you all tuning in. And we're available on every podcasting platform. Apple, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts, you name it, we're there. And if we're not, tell us. We will get there. Absolutely no question about it. But again, we got an action-packed show for you all today. We got a bunch of stuff to discuss. So hey, without further ado, since we got to talk about boxing first and foremost, it is time to step into the ring. Oh yeah. That's right, ring the bell. Let's get it started. Round one of this show going underway. As again, we have a plethora of things to discuss on today's episode. And also, real quick before we even get into that, hopefully y'all are doing well. Hopefully you had a great weekend. Hopefully you made it through your weekend. Hopefully we can make your day a little bit brighter, a little bit more exciting, lead into the hype that is this show and help you to get even more excited to start your week off strong. Hopefully we're doing that for you all on today. But even still, in regards to the world of boxing, we need to discuss what happened later. Yesterday, was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday. When it comes to Tank Davis and Jake Paul. Now, yes, I know. How dare? Why are we talking about this? What is the point? Why are you even wasting time? I know, I've heard the rhetoric. We get it. We don't like the fight. We don't want to cover the fight. We don't want to care about Tank Davis. We don't want to care about Jake Paul. We're sick of hearing their names continue to be echoed throughout the framework of this sports atmosphere. Yes, indeed, we get the fatigue. Oh, yes, I understand. I get it fully. But at the same time, this is a press conference we actually need to pay attention to. Because there's some stuff that came out about this, that came out from this press conference that had me asking some questions in regards to Tank specifically. And the rhetoric I've been saying and the rhetoric that we've been having as a public in regard to Tank in his career, fighting in the world of boxing, or rather the lack thereof in terms of fighting against the competitive natures of boxing prowess that we've been saying he can and should do for the longest time. And so because that's the case, we need to have a conversation. We really do. And the conversation is, if I can bring it up on the topic list below, is Tank Davis overhated? Is he overhated? Now, again, why I asked that, or rather that question itself, seems to be absolutely ridiculous. I completely understand. I hear you right now. I hear you right now. I hear you right now.
We got some problems here.
But here's why. And the question's going to make more sense as we delve into the world of what Tank has said over the course of this press conference. And since we're delving into that, hey, let's jump right into it right now with the old picture and wait, no, if I can get it right. Hold on, if I can get it right. If I can get it correct. Picture, but there we go. In the old picture and picture, as we're scrolling through, and again, I got some stuff saved for the world. Where's this? Right here. Actually, wait, hold on.
A lot of boxing fans are.
What's this real quick? Just say, oh, okay, no, this is just, I thought there was something going on in the world of Dave Benavidez that I missed. No, we are still going to talk about that, absolutely. We are still going to touch on Dave Benavidez afterward, but before that, where is it? Right here. With this whole fight with Tank Davis, as we're delving into him, and again, I got a bunch of tough tidbits and all of what's going on with him as questions that were asked in this fight as a whole. But essentially, this question comes up because of multiplicity of things that happened in this press conference, like with this very clip right here, when he was asked about what he was going to do when he continues. Man, let me make sure I got the volume. Hold on. Wait a minute. There we go. There we go. Okay, all right, here we go.
Corner. Tank, are you going to be retiring? If not, who could we see you fight next year?
Right now, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just, doing me right now.
Casual corner. Tank.
Well, I forgot. I didn't realize that clip was that quick. But essentially, he goes and says, hey, right, when he's asked, are you going to retire? Or if not, who are you going to fight next? He said, I don't really know. Now, this gives, again, further indication of what we were talking about when it comes to the world of Gervonta Davis, that he's, again, got one foot out the door. We understand that completely. This is further proof of what we were saying in regards to the world of Tank, that he is not in any real anticipation to push himself. And like he said, and like he's been saying for the past couple years, he's about done. And body language, rhetoric that he's using in his press conference, the uninterested nature, though, again, this is a situation where he's not really all about the circus per se that Jake Paul puts on when it comes to these types of fights. But it is, again, going back to the topic at hand, is it overhated? Because this has been, the fourth time he said that he's been doing this, or that he's going to retire, he's going to give it up, he's going to say, I ain't really interested, I don't know what I'm going to do. So it shouldn't be as much of a surprise. Also, Al Booger, what's going on with you? How you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning into the show. So glad you're with us on today. And again, I'm not gonna lie, I was attempting to try to get some new features for the show and trying to implement them. However, it took a little bit longer. And ended up since it wasn't working. So I thought, okay, maybe I can squeeze in some extra time. Started a little bit later, but it's gonna be worth it because I'll get the new stuff up for the viewers to be able to see and utilize throughout the stream. Didn't work out, so hence why instead of the normal 12:30 thing, everything I essentially kept on messing stuff up as I kept on trying to add stuff to the show, for features to the show. So that's why I had to kind of essentially reset and get everything back to normal. So now. That's why we starting late. This was my fault. It wasn't no technical difficulty. It wasn't nobody doing anything. This was me messing up, trying to add something to you all's enjoyment. And I I had to backtrack. I had to backtrack. So that's why we had to start at 1 today instead of normal about 12:30 type of time. But again, either way, you're here, we're having fun nonetheless. Now again, I know Al Booker, you've been a starch proponent of somebody saying we don't want to talk about again Tank. I understand. I do completely understand. One, it is sort of a slow week starting out this Tuesday. I'm not going to lie. But two, there is something legitimate to come through. And this is a question, like you see in the title, like you see in the thumbnail, like you see right here on the screen. Is Tank Davis overhated? Not overrated, overhated in the world of boxing, and specifically by me. And we just played a clip in regards to the Tank going into the press conference with Jake Paul, getting asked, okay, are you going to retire after this? Or if not, who you going to fight? And him again, acting disinterested, looking disinterested, very much being like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I want to do. I just, care about the fight right now, but I don't really know what's going to happen after this. Almost continuing the sentiment of Tank being a brother who has said this multiple times, only cares about sport, and after that, boom, he's gone. And that's that. So all of this is building a case onto whether or not we are holding Tank to a type of an unfair bar, since we know what he is as a fighter, or at least as I don't know about him as a person, but as a fighter specifically. It's just what he, let me see. I don't have a problem talking about Tank now. We gotta talk about that person. Okay, so it is something prominent. So it is something. So you see, y'all see there's something there too. But let me see. Yeah, no, it was insane. It was ridiculous. And again, I got more clips on that press conference that will bring it up. And real quick, we need to look at this height discrepancy real quick, because I didn't realize it was going to be this bad when it came to both of them looking at each other. Because my gosh, mind you, this is them squatting down. I'll play it real quick and put it on full screen. Maybe let me make sure. Okay, yeah, we're in the right thing. Yeah, we can pull it up right here. Hold on. There we go. I'm trying to make sure that you can actually see the screen. Okay, you all can see the screen. Here we go. I mean, my gosh. This is, looking at this one, this is ridiculous. This is preposterous. Now, see, I am going to say, that right there, that moment, like we know the fight before the fight, Tank trying to figure out reach and distance, trying to get a gauge of what it's going to take to actually get to Jake Paul, but also this right here. Well, if they get you should get a closer picture in a little bit. There we go. Yeah, no, this is preposterous. This is ridiculous.
Hey, look at that. One of the problems here.
I don't care how you feel about how great you think Tank is. This is just stupid from the standpoint of height discrepancy and outright and a mismatch on a physical level. Like, this just should not be. And we know this shouldn't be. But this is literally, I'm saying I lost some words, guys. I still can't believe something like this is going down. Now, again, I want to be an uber dissector of clips, but real quick, that's what that looking at it, let me see. That made me laugh. Tank made him flee. No, he did. And like he did the same thing with Frank Martin. So the same thing happened now with Jake Paul. So yeah, you answered right. He didn't make him flinch. But more than that, some people were saying that this was Tank that was scared of Jake Paul. This was Tank that was being docile. Oh, he now fully sees what he's actually up against when he's going up against Jake Paul. All that, we can put that to bed. At least we can put that to bed. From the standpoint of Tank ain't scared of Jake. Tank is not concerned with necessarily the height mismatch. That's more so a brother who, like we've seen before. Now notice, he was looking him up and down, trying to get a gauge of, okay, what it's like sizing up his opponent. And if I bring up the clip again, he had a point in, no, wrong thing. Hold on, where's it? There we go. Here we go. I think was it here? Was it here? I think it was. Yeah. It was here. Right there. that, again, this isn't something just to play around with. He's using that whole thing, judging distance, trying to see how far it is for him to reach Jake Paul. Reaction time to Jake Paul, what is something that he might do if he does get a shot at him? Notice how far he went back. Knowing that Tank was indeed still out of reach. So tactical games, again, though this is a fight that shouldn't be happening, it's still going to be Tank does have to be careful to some degree. And he's taking advantage of that in this fight. And so, yeah, all of this stuff, the posturing, the lackadaisical type of sentiment, the more so unenthused look on Tank, it's not just I'm in a heavy state and I don't know what the word to do. I'm in over my head. This is he's looking at him like this man is a clown. This is not a situation where he's scared. I saw some people saying that online. Now, yeah, they might have just been Tank or Jake Paul fanboys, regardless of which. He's trying to be intimidating. He really isn't about it. He really doesn't feel it's a real threat. And again, looking him up and down, but the bigger thing with all that, while he doesn't have the mentality of the height-wise, it's going to be a concern. This is where stuff's coming. No, not this clip. Where's it? This is where stuff's going to come into play. And we're going to touch on this clip too, the face of boxing talk. But this is where this clip's going to come into play. It should be here. It should be here. It should be here. No, hold on. Was it not here? What was that? When he got... Come on now. Hold on a minute. Hold on 1 second. There we go. He may not have gotten concerned with the height, but he showed up concerned with the weight. Apparently his brother got lied to.
And yes, ladies and gentlemen, there will be a victor because the fighters have agreed and the commission has approved a maximum weight of 195 pounds for this exhibition. The fight will be contested over 10 3-minute rounds.
I said it was 190.
The fight is 195 pounds, Tank, as you know. Over 10 3-minute rounds. And when Tank and Jake enter the squared circle to go to battle, they will be wearing 12-ounce gloves. 3 commission-approved world-class professional judges will score every round to ensure there's a decisive outcome for the fight if it goes the distance. Both men are enrolled in the highest level of testing with USADA. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, there will...
Okay, so again, that clip, details about the fight, and... Ain't gonna lie, Tank's a little bit shook because now, all of a sudden, something that we didn't expect to happen. Brother, the weight's bigger than what he thought it was gonna be.
Hey, look at this. We got some problems here. We got some problems here.
Yeesh. Oh my. Oh Lord, again, we thought this fight was at 190. We already said that was pushing it. Tank thought it was 190 as well. All of a sudden now, apparently, Tank got. This buddy, you go ahead. Man, the weight's 195. Might as well be 200 at that point. Might as well be fighting a heavyweight. If you're going to be that close to cruiserweight at 200 pounds, I mean, my goodness. Tank, that took me by surprise. Just as much as it took Tank. And this, again, all of this is going to wrap around back to this question that you see overhead. But, I mean, this is just... Brother, Tank got with the same game plan that he normally uses over all of his other opponents, which is insane to say, but let me keep on reading. Pure spectacle, not sure I'm going to watch the fight. The undercard is very interesting. Oh no, the undercard is interesting. Again, we got Gary Antoine Russell just got announced on the undercard going up against the likes of, and I got it right here, Andy Hirako. And shoot, Andy Hirako, about a 24-0, 18 KOs versus Gary Antoine Russell's 18-1, 17 KOs. Like, that's a good fight. That's a great fight. WBA, the super lightweight title, that's a phenomenal fight. That is a real, that's going to be a good war. That's going to be a really good war. I'm telling you, it's going to be a great war. Again, the undercards of these MVP promotions are always great. They really are. It is the main events that normally we have a problem with. If the main event was something of actual note, with an actual legit fight in the boxing world as the headliner, then these cards would be some of the best of the year on a consistent basis. But because it's Jake Paul, guess what? We hate him. Or at least we hate that. Or it puts a damper on everything else that's actually good when it comes to the world of Tank or when it comes to everybody else on that card except for Jake Paul and he's main eventing. And so, but again, going back towards the point, but Tank got the game run on him. He got the same game that he runs on everybody else, ran on him. This is big. And you know what? You know what? Do you know what? It's because Tank Davis, I think for the first time in his career, is not the A-side in this fight. He's not. I'm going to be clear with you. He is not the A-side. Gervonta Davis is not the A-side in this fight. For all of it. Again, we can talk about all the bad stuff about it. We can talk about, we hate it and all that stuff. Yes, absolutely. Again, a little bit of a slow week and a whole bunch of stuff. But this is a big deal because every time that we've seen Tank get control of a fight, what's he able to do? Rehydration clause, weight clause, able to fight where he wants, when he wants, how he wants. Rules and regulations apply to whatever he says apply. Now, on the other hand, this is the first time we've never seen him be blindsided by somebody doing something or making a rule that was unknown. Dare I say, almost unseen by like to think. Again, he found out live there that he said, y'all said it was 190. Now it's 195. That's the maximum weight. That's ridiculous. And y'all saying 5 pounds is not that much. It is. 5 pounds is a lot. Because Tank has even said he's not moving up 5 pounds to 140. Let alone 195 from 190. That's cruiserweight. That's like close to the cruiserweight limit. At that point in time, night of fight, at 195 is the max thing. Don't let Jake Paul be able to rehydrate. All of a sudden, that's 210. Easy. That's 210 easy. And that's just, no. That is bad. But for Tank, that's something he didn't expect because he got the game run on him. And they were able, because Jake Paul's got power, to make shifts and changes to what the fight was. And this is indicative, potentially, of a bigger deal when it comes to the world of boxing as a whole with Tank Davis. Because Tank took this fight, and also depending on the outcome, this hurt this brother's stock immensely. Nobody right now, we've seen this brother again, as we saw with Jake Paul, has now been in a position to where he's kind of got his hands tied. Well, like, yeah, this is it. You gonna take it or not? And he can't pull out because it's too much money, and he won't be able to make any changes back because he's not the guy that controls. Again, this is Jake's promotion. So the very same show that you tried, and very same song that you tried to run on everybody else, now it's getting run on you in a way that could be incredibly detrimental. And don't let him lose his fight because all of a sudden then that will further bleed into the point that the stock of his could drop for good. Really for good. I mean, in a bad way. Because now they got official, again, which is strange. It's an exhibition, yet they got 3 official judges. They got drug testing. And there's going to be a decisive winner announced. However, this isn't going to count for the record. So, I'm a little bit confused on how that works. But regardless of which, what I said that was going to happen was going to happen. In terms of Jake Paul is aiming to knock out Tank Davis. There is whatever moniker you want to put on this fight, spectacle or not, there is nothing that Tank's going to try to there's nothing that Jake isn't going to try to do to knock out this brother. Knocking out Tank Davis will be the biggest knocking out Tank Davis would be the biggest career success for Jake. It will. And I promise you, there's not going to be any pre-agreed type of situation. There ain't no predetermined outcome. There's no situation of somebody saying, I'll take a dive. It's straight up. He's going for it. And now that we know that there's going to be an actual official decision done with, again, the change in weight, with the bigger, 12-ounce gloves now, which help out Jake Paul way more than it does help out the likes of Tank Davis. And everything else surrounding the controlling aspect of what Jake's been able to do with this fight, making everything he wants happen on his terms. This can get dangerous. This can really get sketchy for the likes of Tank Davis. But let me keep on reading what you all have to say. It's a meaningless fight for me. If Jake wins, he beat a 135-5-5 man. If Tank wins, he beats someone with a 0-0 he beat someone with 0 pro fights and 0 amateur experience. And so, I mean, at this point, yes, Jake Paul is a professional. He does actually professionally have a record of is it 10-1, 11-1, whatever the record is for that. Though the competition is indeed not great, I had to put that respect, even though it ain't much, that he is a actual professional. Though again, he is a very selective and very calculating type of professional that don't take on any real test at all, legitimate. But the average brother ain't just gonna beat him. I have to give him that to that degree, and because of that, that's why I say this fight is a dangerous fight. Again, I don't want to talk about it. The biggest thing I want to talk about is with Tank and us talking against him. Should we have this much ire against the likes of Tank when Tank has showed his cards about what he is as a person, as a fighter? And the reason why, I'll play this clip right now for you for what Tank said himself. Where's that? It should be here. I'm trying to make sure I got all my clips together. Yeah, here we go. Okay, yeah. So I ask this because when we're talking about Tank Davis, like for him, he's saying there's too much against me. And we are fans that flip-flop too much. Let me see. I mean, what would it mean to you if Tank wins? If Jake wins? Oh, okay. Before I play the clip, I'll answer this. If Tank wins, whoop-de-doo. If Tank wins, whoop-de-doo. It's still a terrible move, and we still need to see him fight the likes of Shakur and all the others at 135. It's not going to mean anything. If Jake wins, again, he would have knocked out somebody. From the standpoint of, I think he's going to lose, yeah, he wins, I'll be shocked. Absolutely. But I also have to say, even with the caveat, hey, you're a brother who's almost 200 pounds, who's been training legitimately 5 years in boxing. And at that point, even though you're nowhere close to his fighting caliber, the weight discrepancy is something that is going to be the biggest thing as to, if you catch him, sure, you can hurt him because he's way smaller than you. Way smaller than you. And this whole fight, even if you win, is set so far in your favor because of that weight discrepancy that it's still unfair. So even I can't give you the benefit of the doubt of, oh yeah, this is a really impressive endeavor. Because Tank said himself, hey look, if you 200 or close to it, and you got some legit experience under you, yeah, I can't beat that. You bum off the street, yeah, I can beat that with ease. But if you actually know how to fight, and you bigger than me, at that point in time, yeah, weight classes are too much. Tank's words, not mine. Which again, this whole thing with Tank Davis, and Jake Paul, Jake has made it so that the experience of Tank, in the name of Tank, is able to heal over the fact that this is indeed a one-sided fight because of the discrepancy in weight class and in outright ability. Not ability, weight class and strength, and just outright size as a whole. Not ability, because Tank cleans him out. But as a whole, this is on the complete other side of the spectrum. That outside of the skill set, and yes, skill pay the bills, we know that. But even still, like we were talking about how Canelo and Crawford was too big of a test for Crawford potentially because the weight and the size was just too much for Crawford to overtake, and that was going up against, again, one of the better boxers in the world in Canelo. This is even more egregious than that, even though the talent, yes, is nowhere close, not even in the same state, country, stratosphere as the likes of a Canelo when it comes to Jake Paul. I get that. But this is also, that weight discrepancy also wasn't nearly as monstrous as this. And so it's still, even when the technical boxes of ability, age, experience, and skill set all get ticked for an opponent, it's not without the caveat of everything else physically goes completely in the other end of the pendulum for the likes of Jake Paul. Like I said, it's just enough of a grain of truth to get you sucked into, okay, you're taking on a real test. And then the lies, or rather the other side of the fence is filled with trash that far outweighs the minute aspects of truthful good that this fight is making. It's the scales of balance when it comes to this fight are not indeed as balanced as we may think. Because as much experience as Tank has over Jake and skill set, the other side is almost literally maxed out in weight to push the pendulum potentially at least even. Strictly because this man is fighting upwards of 60 pounds above, now 70. We add that 5 pounds, 70 pounds above the weight of Tank. Like, which is, again, just ridiculous. It's just stupid. It is just stupid. But let me keep on reading. Teddy Berkshire, how you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning into the show. What it do? I ain't entertaining. Yeah, no, I feel you. I'm not trying to entertain it. I am not trying to entertain it. The biggest thing I was trying to get to was this clip I was getting ready to play with Tank questioning the fans and questioning us in our response to this fight. That's what I was trying to play. But let me keep on reading what you all had to say. Ain't got long blazing. There's it's blazing over there. Well, I appreciate you tuning in. I'm glad that you're here. Thank you for just showing up and just saying hi. Like I said, it's been a slow. It's not as much boxing news going around that is very kind of pressing. Sadly, to a degree. Kind of, again, this is the lull in the aftermath of Canelo Crawford. It's still, a little bit of a waiting period up until things start picking up again. But it's kind of like a little bit light. But even still, let me see. It's a lot of people thinking Yard may take it. Hopefully, I'm not one of those guys. Well, there's a lot of people thinking Yard may take it. I'm hopeful, but I'm not one of those guys. Like I said, I do think Yard is going to get beat by Dave Benavidez. I do. And again, I want to talk about Yard and Benavidez so much, but I have to make sure I structure the stuff I do in the show so I'm not using up everything. So we can try to make it stretch as far as we can up until the fight. Because we don't want to over talk stuff down to the ground. But we also don't want to talk about the stuff with Jake Paul and Tank. We don't. But I gotta try to balance out the best I can so we can make sure we got something of note to talk about as the show goes on. But even still, we're going to talk about this more often. We will. But I still think Benavidez is going to take this fight. I really do. Tank got that whole melon. He does. He do. Calzone picked up the win. Oh, yeah, he did pick up a win. Sweet Poison defended undisputed. Couple minor stories. Yeah, but yeah, they were. I didn't know. Honestly, I didn't know how interested y'all were in those fights and the smaller stuff. Like that. Xander Zayas, just denied a fight to go after Unified against what's his name? It's Stan something. It's Stan something. I forget his name, but Zayas, again, with all the talk of Zayas going through and trying to will he fight the likes of Virgil Ortiz or won't he? All that stuff going on with him in the division, him being a champ but seemingly not fighting people, getting checked by a couple of folks in the world of boxing. Are you really trying to do stuff or are you not? Now it looks like he's going after the unified title against. It's not Stanionis. It is Stanlini. Stanlini. If I'm saying his name incorrect, I do apologize. But even still, I didn't know how interested y'all were in those stories. I was gonna report on them, but at the end of the show, I just didn't know. But everything I had done for this show is more so predicated on this big question. But again, we can switch gears. No problem with that. Let me see. Tank looked and acted high yesterday. No, he wasn't. Tank looked. It wasn't that he was high. Yeah, I mean he acted. Tank acted like Tank. Tank acted like Tank always acts. And mind you, we only talk about the fights. We care about the fights. That's the bread and butter. We don't. All the other stuff isn't really our MO. But for this specific situation, something I do need to touch on is a clip that I brought up. But he wasn't acting high. Tank was acting like Tank. He wasn't really that interested. He wasn't with the circus that Jake Paul was doing, bringing literal clowns, actual clowns, out on stage to make balloon animals and all that stuff. And going through, again, the whole song and dance that Jake Paul always does, going up against opponents. Tank wasn't there for it. He doesn't care about it. It's not his thing. He was more so than just disinterested. To some degree, he was uncomfortable. But he just wasn't, it's just not him. Not him at all. He's got the glitz and glamour from the standpoint of an acting standpoint. Yeah. This wasn't him acting inebriated. This was him just acting like Tank, which he wasn't there for the craziness that Jake Paul was going with. That's why he was acting like he was acting. But even bigger than that, is this clip right here. Because I need to, I need to. I need to, I see some of y'all in the chat right now. I need to discuss at least that real quick because this is everything else I don't care about, but this I do. With him in regards to him fighting, getting pressed about fighting the likes of Shakur and everybody else at 135.
I switch somebody can have a bad day and y'all switching on who y'all favorite fighter is or who this person is supposed to fight. Like y'all need to sit back and be fans and just enjoy the sport. Like y'all even talk about people's personal lives. Like why when it come to that?
Can we still expect to see any of those fights in the future though?
And y'all keep talking about fighting somebody. Didn't he just have a fight? Didn't he just have a fight? And what happened? What happened? What happened? He won, right? But how he look in it? Exactly. But y'all say some different shit when it's me, right? Cause y'all want me to lose. When y'all see people in that limelight too long, they want to take that they want somebody else to come take that spot. That's why it's always like, come on, bro. That's what happened with Floyd. Y'all seen him too much, and once y'all seen him so much, y'all start hating on it. Like it turned from love to hate. You know?
Next question.
I switch it.
And so this is the real topic I wanted to discuss. For everything. Again, this was something this was the main thing I wanted to get to. Trying to stretch the show as long as can. But now we're getting to the meat and potatoes of everything. This was what I wanted to discuss when it came to, is Tank overhated by us, the fans in the community? Legitimate. And again, I see some of you all in the comments. I get it. I know. Like I said, I'm trying to make, y'all know how I normally do shows. I am not trying just to pull stuff out of the air. I'm trying to make something substantive. Even though it wasn't as much going on. And plus, I was a little bit busy over the weekend, so I wasn't able to actually get as in tune. I'm doing the best I can. Trust me, but and I know this ain't the best topic to discuss. I get it. I truly get it. I truly do. It was Benavidez fitting to put hands on Yard. He is. Tank always Vegas. Oh shoot. See, Teddy, you ain't right, Teddy. You ain't right. Not gonna lie, I barely care what happens below really. Well, see, and it's tough because a lot of the fights below featherweight happen outside or like again at 4 or so in the morning. So it ain't as easy. Part of the reason that's why we're talking about those lower weight divisions. It's harder for people to get as invested in them, even though there's a bunch of stuff going on down there. Again, whether it's the big names like Bam, Junto, or in a way, or even smaller ones like Diego Higa, who just retired, Takeki, who just lost his championship, and a couple of other people from 126 and below. It ain't easy. It's not. That's why I try to be as informed as I can, so I can make sure that I'm telling y'all, hey, there is some great work down there. But they can go. They really can. Them small people, they can fight. Legit. I mean, they go for broke. Most of the best fight. Y'all seen it. Y'all have seen it every time we're here doing a show or calling a fight at 4 in the morning, in the way card or otherwise. Every single time, guess what? We're never disappointed. And we're all saying, we're glad I got up. You know? And I'm 240, so only really about super middleweight to super heavy. I think super heavyweight is just straight up heavyweight now. The question is Tank over defended? And see, it's two sides of the coin. It's two sides. You hit the nail on the head. It's two sides of the coin. Is he over defended or is he overhated? Based on what we just played in the clip, Tank would say that he's overhated, similar to Floyd Mayweather. Because of the fact that, what did he say? Y'all, when we get too far up to the top, what happens? Oh, y'all want to see us lose. Now y'all want to see people go away. And all of a sudden, he tried to bring up Shakur. Didn't Shakur just have a fight? And what happened? Yeah, you saw what he looked like. Yeah, you saw what he looked like. Y'all don't want us to stay up. And credit to the brother who was on the mic, who initially the first question was that led to that response. When will you fight the likes of Shakur, the Schofields, and the others of the world at light heavyweight or at lightweight and beyond? Because that's what the fans want to see. That was the question that led to that response. And Tank, again, said this in response of, y'all always want to see us lose. Just like with Floyd, y'all are hating on us instead of just being fans and watching us fight. That right there is the problem. That right there is the issue. That frame of thinking is being defended by a lot of the boxing populace. Is Tank overhated? No. Is Tank over defended? Yes. And the reason for this is because everybody who's defending him is of the notion that Tank's getting ill-gotten hate instead of deserved responsibility and accountability that should be held to him. And now we see this is how Tank feels about what everybody's saying. You just need to be a good fan, sit down, and enjoy the sport in front of you. Forget trying to ask for stuff. Forget trying to act like we're not doing enough work. Forget trying just to constantly look for us to lose. Go and do what you're supposed to do, which is sit down and watch. And just eat what we give you. Eat what I say is on the menu. Instead of demanding something that you want. Plain and simple. That's how he feels. That's how Tank feels. And that mindset has been defended by his fans for oh so long. It's been continually backed up. Because a lot of fans have been saying, yes, just let him do whatever he does is the best thing for the sport. Plain and simple. But in all actuality, it's just not the case. But with Tank, he feels, yeah, it is the case. It should be the case. Because how dare you come through and demand these fights that you want to see? Because I'm already doing everything I can. When we know good and well that he's not. But no, he's not overhated. his hate is misconstrued by him as he thinks accountability is hate. He thinks getting asked about you fighting other confidants is hate. And that's just not the case. The answer is yes. I mean, this what take fans will say, y'all hating on the money. Yes, they'll say you're hating on the money. They will use financial backing. Oh, we got so much dough to help make their point that, yeah, see, this is why this man knows better than everybody else, because he's just that good and he's just that dominant of a dog. Boom. What else does he need? Why does he need Shakur? Why does he need Floyd Schofield? Why does he need Abdullah Mason? And he's making 8, 10 figures. However many figures he's making. Look at it. He's giving y'all money that is driving the sport. He's making these big paydays. How are these not good enough fights? What more can you desire? It's a bad mentality. Let me see. Vaughn Greenhill, how you doing? Thank you for tuning in to the show. Appreciate you tuning in for us today. I think Tank is just insecure, but not overhated. His personality is somewhat strange, in my opinion. Yeah, I can respect that. I can respect that. He is, again, he's talked about how his pride is something that he doesn't want, that he won't let him lose. He's scared to lose, or his pride is scared to lose. He said that himself. When regards to him not wanting to potentially fall by the wayside and lose a fight. He said it himself. And so he is insecure. He sees how he sees how his own fan base clowns others on social media, and he doesn't want that to happen to him if he loses. He knows what's going to happen if he doesn't. He go and lose a fight. He saw what happened when he got a draw. He sure don't want to see what happens if it's a complete other side of the spectrum and he loses outright or gets knocked out. You don't want that at all. So, yeah, it could be a level of insecurity that is a factor, but I think more so it is the skirting of accountability and responsibility more than anything. Tank acts in a manner that he feels he should have the room and deserves to have the room to act spoiled, because look at what I'm able to do. Why would I need to do anything else when all of this should be good enough? And I'm bigger than everybody else in the sport, so boom. What's your concern? Let me do what I want. That's how his personality really shows up. I get a lot of people jumping out the window to defend the homie. Yeah, no, they are. Tank been insecure. He's worried about the wrong stuff. He's always, image is a big issue. It absolutely is. Constructive criticism is perceived as hate. No kind of accountability. You're absolutely right. That's where he is frustrated. That's why he's lashing out whenever he gets asked about Shakur. That's why he is so dominating to try, or so determined to try to shut down those conversations when those questions come up. Notice he didn't even answer the question when he got asked the second time if he would ever fight Shakur or any of those fights that the reporter listed, to say after this fight, are you going to get him? That's the thing. He still never answered the question. All that pomp and circumstance, he still never answered the question. And it's because, to a degree, he acts spoiled. I'm not saying that he's a spoiled brat, he's a punk, all that stuff. I'm not going like that. I'm saying he acts spoiled because he's had the luxury to do everything he wants without any pushback. And now that we're seeing the sport of boxing start to really take its biggest shift away from the mindset of Floyd Mayweather, all of a sudden, everybody is now talking like they weren't talking before against Tank and the moves that he made. Because notice, these questions that were coming up with Shakur Stevenson and Tank Davis and all of them, they were asked, absolutely. But it wasn't this fervent. It wasn't. It wasn't this fervent. It wasn't this demonstrative a couple of years ago. Pre-2023. But as 2024 and 2025 came, all of a sudden, y'all were here. Y'all were on this channel. We were saying there was a shift going on in the boxing world. There was a shakeup. There was a move. You felt the atmosphere starting to change. Crawford became undisputed. Devin Haney fought Lomachenko for undisputed. You had, in a way, become two-time undisputed. Crawford also becoming two-time undisputed. Benavidez ended his campaign at 168 and moved up. Bivol and Benavidez had their undisputed fight twice. Usyk, Fury, undisputed for the first time in 25 years. They fought twice. All of a sudden, we had big names making big moves on a consistent basis. Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney. Ryan Garcia, Tank. Teofimo Lopez got his mojo back. Fighting and beating pound for pound level contenders. Everybody started to see, hey, the fights that we wanted are starting to happen. Somebody's missing from this ingredient table. And it's Tank. And further, now since Terrence Crawford fought Canelo, has done a major shift to scrub away the movement style that was done and predated, or rather done and stamped by the likes of Floyd Mayweather with how he moved throughout his career. Because notice who was the first brother that Tank brought up when he was going up against all this ridicule. Floyd. Y'all did the same thing to Floyd. When he got to the top, what happened? Y'all wanted to tear him down. Y'all wanted to see him lose. Just like y'all doing to me. Y'all don't appreciate greatness. Y'all just want to see, once we get to a certain threshold, hey, we want to see you out of here. We're done with you. We're tired of you. That's how he was talking. Using Floyd as an example. You know why? Because that's what Floyd told him. That's what Floyd taught him. That's what Floyd set an example of to Tank. When you get to the top, they're going to want to see you lose. They're going to want to hate you. They're not going to want to see you succeed. They're going to want you to get off your pedestal because they're tired of you. They won't appreciate you. They won't want to be around you. The world's going to be against you once you get up here. They're going to ask you to fight certain people that they think that you're going to lose so they can get a new star and start to cycle over again. So you're no longer in the picture as a main face anymore because they're just done like a toy. They want to throw you away. That's what he's done. That's what he's done. That's what he said. And that is an ill-gotten sentiment because Floyd has some of the same issues. Floyd had some of the same problems that we're seeing with Tank right now. Image, pride, an understanding of the world's out to get me. Everybody's my enemy. And he also ducked opponents that he should have fought or fought them again at the right time. When people were saying, hey, we want to see you against this brother. But it's never because we're trying just to see you lose. No, we want to see how great you can be. We want to see you fight other greats. The aspect of you fighting these other people is not indicative of us saying we're done, lose, and get out of our face. It is so that we can see and measure how great you really are. Because if you do achieve this great stuff, we will be able to go through and have a great time and praise everything that you are as a fighter. It's because it's a badge of honor. But Tank takes it as a badge of disrespect against him when everybody keeps saying, why are you bringing up Shakur? Why are you bringing up Tank? Why you always want us to fight these names that you think we're going to lose to? Because if you do beat them, guess what? You're even better. Plain and simple. And you're supposed to be fighting the best that you can. But with Tank, he views it as he's overhated. And people the world's out to get him. Partially why he's thinking, get his money and get out. Partially why he goes with the mindset of, I just want to get what I need and be done. Because I'm sick of what the drama of boxing and the drama of the fans has made for my career. Which is, they don't just sit back and enjoy. They go through and just do whatever. They go through and keep on demanding stuff. In actuality, we ain't demanding nothing. We're just asking you to be the best you can be against the best that we know is out there. To make you better. That's all we're doing. But with Tank, that's not how we see it. That's not how we see it at all. And so it's a shame. Let me see. Can you imagine if Shakur was dancing with his boy on camera? Hey, look, I'm not gonna get into what they do. Like I said, when it comes to personal stuff, you do what you do. You do what you do. I ain't in it on that. I ain't touching that at all. That whatever they do, I only care about the production. And people, you would hope the way they got took for Tank, it would get taken for anybody else. Would it? Probably not. If other people did the same stuff. But again, Tank is that type of star. He is able to infatuate the audience in a way that nobody else can. But at the same time, with that power of pull comes the fear, not just of failure, but the fear of, hey, what if people don't like me or don't let me just do what I want? And again, the pampered lifestyle of being the biggest star starts to slip away. Now, I can't act like I want to act. And so, it's like, it's a shame. It is a shame. It really is a shame. But let me see. Going through. I don't care about none of that personally. I would just criticize him for not challenging. That's all. That's the biggest thing that we're saying. And again, the root of this is, why does Tank feel the way that he feels when criticism come into play? When we say what we say, why is it that he feels that we are just only hating rather than, and again, it wasn't even that, like, it wasn't like the reporters or the reporter that was there or reporters in the past have been asking him and pressing him and saying, hey, you a bum, hey, you a schmuck, hey, you ain't worth nothing, hey, you in the dirt as a fighter, and you ain't got no business being at the top of the card in the first place. Unless you fight XYZ, you're worth nothing. They ain't even saying that. They're literally asking, when are you going to fight one or two of the most high-profile fighters that would make bank in your division? But just the whims of competition lead to an identity of fear, at least for Tank Davis. More so driven by the idea of hatred that is falsely put on from the public to him, which is problematic. He's going through, and again, because partially taught by Floyd Mayweather, because Floyd is doing this to this day when he talks about himself in the GOAT conversation. Every time he injects himself there, and anybody who doesn't put him as the greatest fighter, doesn't know boxing, is a hater, and doesn't understand the sport, and is only saying he's not the greatest because they don't like Floyd Mayweather. Not because of the resume, not because of the talent, only because they just don't like him. That's almost a defense mechanism. It's a default reaction because it is an imprinted identity, or it's an imprinted type of philosophy that he has put on himself against the world. Everybody here don't like me strictly because they are just haters, not because they have actual valid reasons. And they are real fans, and because of that, this is why they think what they think. He doesn't think like that. He does not think like that at all. Yet that's what he has taught to his protege in Tank Davis. Guarantee you the same stuff being said to Kermel Moton. Is he going to take attached to it? I don't know. But I guarantee you, it's a perpetuated type of situation. Perpetuated type of thing. And so, it's like, and now people are overshadowing in a way on what he's done again because he's not American. I'm sick of it. And yeah, and like I said, we talk about it anyway on this show. We talk about all this stuff. And again, I'm not trying just to, mind you, we've stayed away from Tank for a hot minute. This is only because of the recent press conference. But this is a question that leads to, he's been enabled by his fan base and by even the boxing world as a whole for not really pressing him like they should because he's a big star. and the overshadowing of, in a way, and other stars, Terrence Crawford, as well, up until last weekend, was all because that idea of fans and pundits were just able to, eat what I feed you from Tank Davis. It let them get away with it. Again, falsely building up a star that wasn't actually there. Falsely building up an identity that wasn't there up until it became too big to fail, until it actually started failing. But the lies and the false throne of gold was able to shine, or they were able to polish it up enough to make it so that, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread. When actual sliced bread ain't getting its just due, like with Inouye and others. And so it's a shame. I hate it for you. I hate it for you. Inouye fights, or Ennis fights in a few weeks. Yes, he does, absolutely. And I'm very excited for that. And I'm also very interested. Very interested. Like I said before, at 154, we want to see, especially now, and we'll probably address this on Thursday more in depth, but especially now with the fight of Crawford and Canelo ending, and Ennis training Canelo, people are gonna be very interested to see, or people are gonna be very interested to see. Hey, brother, if you ain't trained to help out the likes of Canelo at all, when you went to spar with him to help him out, we got a question, brother. How good are you really? Because if you ever want to be talked about in any line of thinking remotely close to Crawford right now, you need to show something special. You need to show something really special. And so there's going to be some close eyes on him. Just by proxy of him being associated with Crawford and Canelo and the way in which Canelo got beat, there's going to be some prying eyes waiting to see what this brother's actually going to be like. Oh, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. I can't wait for that fight. And we are going to talk about it more so as it gets closer and closer. I guarantee you. I guarantee you. Also, please, yes, get the lights up. Like I said, I understand. I know this ain't the most exciting show. I'm trying to do the best I can with what I got. Because it's not as much of dominating S-type topics. But it's like, this is a necessary conversation that still needs to go through. And like I said, we'll probably do championship rounds way earlier in this show because it ain't a whole bunch to go through as of today. But let me see. If Tank gets KO'd, then it's going to a little bit. If Tank, can mind you, even though it's an exhibition, they're going to have actual judges judging this, per what they said in the press conference. They're going to have legit judges. There's going to be an actual announced winner. So if Tank does lose his fight, you can, is he still going to be a big star? Absolutely. But you can kiss any notion of what he used to have in the past of a fame and high caliber level star power. It ain't going to be nearly the same. It won't be nearly the same. I promise you, it won't be nearly the same. If he loses this fight with Jake Paul, it is gonna be bad. You thought he would have been better off if he lost to Shakur Stevenson than if he lost to Jake Paul. He would have been better off getting knocked out by Shakur Stevenson than getting knocked out by Jake Paul. I promise you. If Jake Paul knocks his brother out, though we understand it is entirely feasible and possible just by the rhetoric that Tank has set himself and the status that he's done for his career, as well as the hatred against the likes of Jake Paul and the expectations that are against him in this fight. If he gets knocked out, though we know it's entirely possible, you're going to look at a man, he might retire after that night. You think I'm playing? I'm not. I'm not at all. A loss could definitely do it for him. But if he gets knocked out, oh yeah, no, he's done. You think he's going to walk into the ring with Shakur after that? Do you think anybody's going to give him a chance against any of the top fighters anymore after that fight? if he gets knocked out by Jake Paul, because they don't think Jake Paul, even with all the weight with him, should ever be able to box at all. Lay a glove on Tank. If he gets knocked out by Jake Paul, oh, he's in the gutter. He's in the dirt. That would literally be worse than any loss against any top star that you could think of. If Tyson Fury had lost to Francis Ngannou, that would have been worse than if he lost to Usyk. That would have been worse than if he lost to Dillian White. If he had gotten the official decision. And I still think he lost that fight with Francis Ngannou. I'm telling you, it's bad. I'm telling you. This is a situation where Tank it's a whole bunch to lose, and it's skewed so far in the favor of physical dominance for Jake Paul that it is not just a potential viable option. It is actively possible that he can get one-shotted and put away in this fight. It's legit. Tank was roasting the mess out of Jake Paul, tough, and I love it. Only this time because okay, I see. Tank was roasting the mess out of Jake Paul. Yeah, no, he was. He really was. And you only like it this time because it's Jake Paul. I get it. I do get it. I do indeed get it. I completely get it. And I'm happy that he's still got that level of bravado. But it's just a shame of what it has to come with. That's the thing. After this, I would like to see a rematch with Tank versus Roach. I would too. Slight disagree. Floyd put him in there with Pedraza to push him forward. Tank said that they were trying to set him up. I think Tank has that mentality. I think Tank just has that mentality. Okay, I see what you're saying. Let me see. MS, how you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning in the show. Tank stock at an all-time low. Yes, it is. Yeah, but Francis was in the same weight class, so it was understandable. Yeah, no, it was. Again, from the standpoint of experience, talent, and it should have been an overarching thing, that loss was incredibly bad, or would have been if it was official, incredibly bad for Tyson Fury. And if in lieu of that fight, it was Usyk and Fury then, and Usyk did beat him, it would not have been nearly as clowning or drastic or whatever. Though, yes, people would still done their thing. It would have been, oh my gosh, the impossible happened. It's incredible. And so, like Canelo losing to Terrence Crawford is a shock. Absolutely. Absolutely it is. And we understand it's a big accomplishment. But at the same time, if he had lost to Jake Paul, yes, weight different, I understand. But even still, that would have been like, oh, shoot. Way more in the dirt than he is right now. It is the qualifications of who you're fighting based on who you are and where you are in the world of boxing that really does tip the scales to some degree for a lot of people. And again, with Al Booger, you're right. Floyd Mayweather did put Pedraza in the ring with Tank to push him forward, and Tank felt that he was holding it back. We did play that clip a couple of months ago, I think like a year ago actually, when discussing this whole thing. You're absolutely right about it. But you gotta look at it from the other perspective as well. If, yes, Floyd felt it was time for you and you're ready to take the step, and Tank then, boom, said, oh, you trying to set me up. You have to understand that ideology of somebody is trying to set me up. If it happened once, I get it. But with the way that he's moved out through his entire career, and the reactions every single time somebody had said something or about a legitimate fight has been the same reaction of, you're trying to set me up to lose. And yes, it can be something that is perpetuated just by his own personality, which I don't doubt. But also it was fed into by the likes of, with what Floyd was telling him as a mentor, with don't worry about the fans, worry about the money. telling him, he told him on a plane, no matter what you do, fans are going to hate you. So you do what you want to do. You worry about getting the bag, and you worry about making sure that you're taken care of. You don't have to do X, Y, Z to be as great as you want to be. You can walk in a different avenue and still be great. It was Floyd who kept feeding into the idea that, again, the world is against you if they want to see you challenged. At every point, it was 3 main points of emphasis. Get your money, do what you want to do, and don't worry about what the fans say, because they don't know anything and they want to see you fail. He said that for his own career as well as to Tank, both in interviews and in private. This ain't me just saying stuff. This is stuff that's documented. He fed into the idea for Tank to see that, yeah, I don't need to be going through the fire and brimstone to try to go and make everything work. I can just fight whoever. And who are you to say as a fan that I'm somebody that is messing up? Why can't you? And again, for those of you that are just tuning in, if you didn't see the clip, I'll play the clip real quick one more time for because we got some new people that came into the chat. This is what we're touching on, and this is what he said in total in reaction to the question with Shakur.
Somebody can have a bad day and y'all switching on who y'all favorite fighter is or who this person is supposed to fight. Like y'all need to sit back and be fans and just enjoy the sport. Like y'all even talk about people's personal lives. Like why when it come to that?
Can we still expect to see any of those fights in the future, though?
And y'all keep talking about fighting somebody. Didn't he just have a fight? And what happened? He won, right? But how he look in it? Exactly. But y'all say some different shit when it's me, right? Cause y'all want me to lose. When y'all see people in that limelight too long, they want to take that they want somebody else to come take that spot. That's why it's always like, come on, bro. That's what happened with Floyd. Y'all seen him too much, and once y'all seen him so much, y'all start hating on it. Like it turned from love to hate.
Like you see, and again, if he wants to bring up Shakur, we can bring up Shakur. Shakur just fought. Yes, he did. We complain that we don't see fighters fight enough, which is great, but it's still active. How did he look? It was the best fight of his career. Exactly. I don't know what Tank was trying to say that we were saying he was looking bad. We said he looked great. But again, the world's against me. Nobody knows what they're seeing. Y'all keep flip-flopping. You love somebody and then you hate them the next day. And you know what? There's some validity to that. Hey, look, there's some validity to that. I have no issue admitting there is some validation in that conversation that fans flip-flop so much throughout their career that you can't do nothing straight. That's perfectly fine. Absolutely, that's okay. That's absolutely true. Some people don't know what they want. Some people keep on they keep on switching left, right, and center. They don't know what they don't know. Or they think that they know too much. And then they just feel some type of way. Whatever conclusion it comes to, yes, fans are fickle. We talked about this on this very show. Fans are fickle. They will switch up on you on a dime. That's not right. That's not good. One loss should not make or break a fighter. One performance shouldn't make or break a fighter. You're absolutely right. But again, a sliver of truth that hides the dirt. I'm telling you, it's still dirt. A patch of green grass does not make a yard look clean. No, it just means there's one area that is taken care of, but everything else is out the window. That's what in Tank, with his deflecting, with this constant usage. With this constant usage of trying to compare other people in their bad performances. Which again, Shakur, it wasn't a bad performance. It was the best performance he's had. Yet trying to have that as, oh, see, y'all saw his fight against Zepeda, and what happened? Y'all said that he wasn't doing enough. Y'all were saying he was doing this, that, and the third. Y'all said that he ain't that good of a boxer no more, which again is a bold-faced lie, but also he was trying to use that as a means to say, see, y'all don't know what you want. So do what I say do. Because you just want me to fall from the top of the mountain, just like y'all did with Floyd. Which again, is not valid at all. But it's why he's been moving the way that he's moved throughout his entire career. At least it helps shine a light. It helps to shine a light on it in some degree. And so I don't like Devin Haney, but I give him some respect because at least he challenged himself to some degree. But he's taking on of every fighter who's taking on big names, he's taking on almost the most. Ryan Garcia, he's taking on the likes of Lomachenko. He's taking on now Brian Norman Jr. I'm not saying that Kambosos is a big name, but off the backs of Kambosos beating Teofimo Lopez, he went to his country twice and beat him for the undisputed title when he was at his hottest. Then, before Brian Norman Jr., he offered a fight with Teofimo Lopez. Remember, we covered that. $11 million. He offered, I think it was either 10 or 11 million. He offered a fight with Teo. He went to the table and said, yo, Teo, let's get it on. And Teo walked away. Remember, we covered that, remember? We did cover that on this show. Unless I'm misremembering which side script it was, I believe it was him that offered to fight Teo. So he's been trying to take on legitimate tests. We can talk about how his style right now is convoluted. It's very much concerning. But you don't hear us disrespecting him from the standpoint of, yeah, that brother, he ain't a real one. He is. I don't care how you feel about what he is as a person, as a fighter. But everything we say about him never ever questions his willingness to fight somebody. Never. Then it's just performance and production. In those fights, do we think he can win? Yes or no? But beyond that, no. He's doing everything that we want him to do. His career is lining up with greatness or trying to attempt greatness. So people have no qualms with that. With Tank, we just want him to attempt. That's all we're saying. That is all we're saying. Let me see. Tank, you're not entirely wrong. However, the problem is you're not fight the toughest opponents or challenges yourself to better yourself in the sport. And that's the thing. Us saying that to him is like us saying to Tank, you are not good at all. And you're not validated unless you fight a set amount of people, which he is validated. But that pressure is the pressure that he doesn't like. It's the pressure that he can't withstand. Again, I'm not trying to say I know his mind. We are following his actions of what he's done. With this press conference being a big indicator of said actions, validating a lot of the points that we made about Tank. It's the pressure to do the stuff that he really doesn't like. Because, sure, he loves to fight. Absolutely. But then to tell him what to do, it's a slap in the face, at least in the eyes of Tank. To tell Tank what to do and to say you need to go this way is almost a slap in the face. It's almost a slap in the face. Because he's like, how dare you? Who do you think you are? And again, going back to the world of again, still talking about Tank. Further proof of, again, he doesn't like being told what to do or holding himself to a confines of, hey, I should be able to walk the way I want to walk without pressure. We were speculating what was going to happen with Tank and Lamont Roach. When was that rematch going to take place? Why hasn't Tank signed? Well, Lamont just came out and had a statement about that whole saga himself in regards to Tank and Roach and them signing for the contract. Let me see. I do agree with Floyd on Tank that they should not just listen to fans. You have to manage your own career how you see fit. And like I said, inkling of truth. An inkling of truth. Yes, absolutely. Control your destiny and control your career. We want that as fans. Absolutely. Just like with fans, you have to be able, if you make a move that ain't worth a hill of beans, we're going to say you ain't making a move that's worth a hill of beans. And so, like you have to, we want, that's why we're talking about the Ali Act. Again, well, I know we're going across the board, but it's all connecting. That's why the Ali Act that we talked about with Sean Zedel was so important to bring up, because that allows for you to make your own career decisions and choices without constricting you to being controlled. We want that. And Floyd is right on that. But at the same time, there is a understood notion that in any endeavor like this, you are striving to be the best. And if you talk like you are the best and you don't back it up, you're going to be called out on it, and you're going to get pressured. You're going to get pressured because now you are not living up to the words that you say. And for Tank, don't like that at all. Because the pressure to say, you can't tell me what to do, he hates that. But that pressure is not coming from, we're trying to control you. That pressure is coming from where you're at right now in your career. This is where you should be fighting. You can still do whatever you want, but we see clearly there is a line and a pathway to the best version of your career. And we want you to pursue it because we think you're that good. And if you don't, for reasons that are, again, not worth or not worthy to be, not, or that are not worthy to be actuated in your career outside of, it's just my own frame of thinking, outside of, I can do what I want. And that's a problem. Because we're still paying customers for this. As much as, again, the sport is the sport. The fan, without the fans, there is no sport. Our opinion does matter because we are indeed putting money to this. So we are saying, hey, we see something that we're willing to pay for. We want you to take that test. We also think you can win. And we think we will be entertained. The ultimate form of respect. So please take that fight. Take that endeavor. Take that chance. But again, even if it's good pressure, it's still pressure. And Tank don't like pressure. He don't like pressure. Constructive criticism is not hate unless you take it to another level of criticism. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Again, it's not us saying that, oh, we think you're going to lose. It's not us saying, oh, we just want you to get out of here. It's not us saying that, Jake Paul, that's hate. I'm sick of that, brother. I want to see him fight somebody on his level legitimately, more consistently, and not fight these geezers and or people that are 80 pounds below him. Absolutely. That's criticism. The other side is, I just don't want him in sport. That's hate. Both of those things are, yeah, absolutely. But again, with Tank, everything that isn't saying yes to him is hate. And the yes men mentality is what helped him get to this point. To be able to say, hey, why are you criticizing? Because to some degree, he feels deserving to do what he wants to do. And that just ain't right. But again, let me play this clip like I was saying in regards to that pressure with Lamont Roach, talking about his time with the contract negotiations for Tank Davis. This is what he had to say on the matter when it came to putting that saga of what was about to happen to bed in his own words.
For the people who say I'm supposed to get over it, get past it, we had a rematch clause, right? We had a rematch clause. If I'm declared the winner or if the bout was declared a draw, he has the right to exercise an immediate rematch. Guess what he did 2 weeks later after the fight? Exercised his right to the rematch. And we went and go handle our business with my team, lawyers, his team, promotional company, lawyers, contract, boom, sign, boom. That was for June. This contract was signed both ends in June. So there's an official rematch. Undercard and everything. Like, that shit was supposed to happen.
Set in stone.
Set in stone. Nah, really. Like that's what people don't understand. Like, people don't know. Like, that shit was supposed to happen.
And again, pressure. And mind you, we were saying, I got it wrong. Mind you, remember, I was the one that was saying that Tank ain't signed yet. I was the one that said that Tank hadn't signed for that rematch yet. Remember, I was adamant. Everything I had found said that Lamont Roach did sign, but Tank has yet to sign on his own. We were talking about that like upwards of a couple of weeks ago. Now, come lo and behold, June, Lamont Roach is now saying both of them signed. Officially, and it was going to happen. And then we weren't just crying, trying to say, oh, whatever the case may be. He was actively, legally, was supposed to get his fight. And Tank activated his rematch clause, and he came to the table and he did what he was supposed to do. So I was wrong with it. He actually did sign, and both of them were signed. And then, again, pressure, he walked away. Roach wears glasses? Yeah, no, I didn't know that. I didn't know that he wears glasses. I did not know. They might be blue light glasses, or they might be like legit, like my kind of glasses to be able to see. I didn't know. I did not know. That's news to me. How in the world do you see punches coming if he indeed ain't got great vision? I have no clue. More impressive nonetheless. But again, per Lamont's words coming out, what was at the table? He's like, yeah, he was supposed to get it, and he didn't get it. But again, that punch, I'm gonna see. I don't hate Jake Paul, but I don't like him. I try not to hate. No, I feel you. In the sport world, again, I'm with you. I don't want to hate nobody. We're trying to show love to everybody. You cannot like the action, but you love the person, hate the actions. And if they keep doing if they keep doing bad actions, you hate the actions, but you don't want to hate the person. I'm with you there. In the sports world, I hate the actions that that Jake Paul has been doing, and I also hate most of the actions that he's done outside of the sports world. But I don't try not to hate the person. But I sure don't like what I've been seeing from him so far. But let me see. Not taking it inside, that would be a breach of contract. Lamont Roach could easily sue for damages. Well, that's what I'm saying. Again, I'm strictly going off of the words of Lamont himself, giving everything, saying everything that he said. Like I said, at this point in time, that's been the most plain and simple explanation from anybody on either side, going through and telling us what's the up and up for that whole saga of stuff. Now, it could be that the clause is still active, and yes, the contract just exists, just with a different date now, but he's still gonna get the fight, especially if he beats the likes of Isaac Cruz and Jake loses to Tank. Then okay, maybe. I'm surprised he didn't sue, but if he did sue, what would have happened? Some of the same stuff that we saw with Devin Haney, most likely. Now, a little bit of different circumstances, but the same ridicule that would have gotten to Devin Haney could have come the same way to Tank because, came the same way to Lamont because, why are you suing? It's another David Haney situation. Losing credibility, losing your star power. Do we want to go through that again, even though we have a legitimate thing? The optics, would they have done it? That might be why they didn't. But either way, regardless of which, again, that's the information that we got. But the main thing was pressure. You don't like pressure. And he's been pampered to be able to do what he wants. Making him say, hey, there is a line of demarcation that you have to do. He don't like it. Because he feels that you saying that in criticism is the word out to get him. Just like Floyd, not just with how he fought, but with what he taught. Helped to further instill that type of mindset. Which is why we see Tank doing what he wants to do. Saying that if you ask about Shakur, you're hating and you don't care. You just want me to lose. You're just tired of seeing me at the top. Which again is all not valid, but still is his mindset. Which explains why he's moved and done what he's done throughout the course of his entire career. Just about. And so, at least for me. Let me see. Remember though, Lamont been saying for months that he signed and Tank hasn't signed. Now he's saying something different. Yeah, like I said, I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go back through and make sure. I'm just playing the clips. But you're right. Remember, I was reporting, using Lamont's words as well, saying that's why I admitted, hey, I was wrong. If this is indeed true, that's why I said I'm admitting I'm wrong on this, because now we see if what Lamont's supposed to saying is right, and that they both signed and it was supposed to go through. Then yeah, we got some potential issues and complications. We definitely do. We definitely do. If this is indeed a different story that isn't true at all, and it was actually that just Tank didn't sign in the first place, and we hope that's not the case. Like I said, I'm trying to be as reputable as possible. Please, I am not trying to pick and choose. I'm trying to make sure I'm every clip I get is supposed to match up to the timeline of what's been going on. So I'm trying to make sure I'm doing the best I can with that. I really am. But it's the biggest thing. We'll keep on validating. Keep on looking up for yourself to make sure that what Lamont is saying is right. Be sure. If what I'm saying is wrong, if I'm coming to the wrong conclusion because the information ain't like what it's supposed to be, you look it up and you make sure you find out for yourself. I say that with everything I say. But if this is true, it further proves the point that Tank with restrictions due to pressure is something that he feels is a use from the world against him, because the world just wants to see him topple over. That's the biggest inclusion I can come up with. Ryan Graves, how you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning into the show. So glad you're with us on today. Tank wants to bring back excitement. Not fighting the best guys available. Yeah, he does, and it don't make no sense. It really doesn't make any sense. It's really stretching. And like I said, we don't want to talk about Tank. We don't want to talk about the Jake Paul fight. News ain't been all that fast
For the people who
throughout
say
the news ain't been all that abundant throughout the course of last weekend. So we're trying to make as much of a conducive show as possible, and hopefully this is it. With the whole off of this and off of some clips with Dave Benavidez, when talking about the world of him and potentially Canelo off the back of Canelo's loss and what he said now about what his plan is going to be in light of this loss with Canelo Alvarez. And hold on, wait, I'm checking something. Hold on, I'm checking something. Wait a minute. Is something popping up? Wait, oh. Okay, no, never mind. Did not mean to get your hopes up. I'm so sorry. Wasn't trying to get your hopes up. I thought something was breaking. I thought we had some breaking news potentially happening. False alarm. My bad. False alarm. Please go back to what you were doing. Let me see. Tank wants to bring back excitement, not fight the best guys available. And it's again excitement Excitement comes in a twofold street: shock and substance. This fight is a shock fight. And whatever outcome is going to be will be a shock. If Tank knocks out Jake, boom, the shock of this roller coaster is over. Jake Paul got knocked out. His stock is in the gutter. There's no point in anybody wanting to fight him. Come on, we back. We back. Hello? Hello? I went out for a second. Hold on. Are we gonna make sure we're good? Are we gonna make sure we're good? Hold on, wait a minute. Hold on, wait, oh. Okay, we're back. Okay, good gosh. Lord, shoot. Okay. I think I hit something accidentally. But yeah, okay, thank you. Okay, we're back. What was I saying? Excitement. The shock of both of those results would be shocking. But then, boom, these highs don't last forever. People are getting tired of these types of highs that are not substantive, but just straight up shock. Off the back of Canelo and Crawford, people are starting to get a hunger for real competitive fights that actually have skill and talent. I've had people now that aren't interested in boxing all of a sudden being like, hey, is there anything else going on? I got to see that Crawford-Canelo fight. Hey, that was pretty good. I don't want to see something else like that. What else is going on in the year? Because they know I'm doing this for my career. The appetite never stayed with Jake Paul and any of his other fights. And they had watched other fights. The appetite never stayed when it was Jake Paul versus Tyson, or Jake Paul versus Woodley, or Jake Paul versus Askren. It never stayed. It didn't stay with Jake Paul versus Fury. The understood hunger never stayed with any of those fights when somebody would talk to me about them. But all of a sudden with Canelo and Crawford, next thing you know, people are asking me, when's the next fight? Who else is fighting? What's Crawford doing after this? What's Canelo doing after this? What else is happening in the year? Who do I need to look out for? We're getting people asking questions because all of a sudden the substance kept them there. Actual talent made them want to see more. When something was billed as real and then they got a taste of the real, now they want more of the real. All of a sudden, people are asking about anyway. People are asking who the world is this Benavidez guy. All these other names are starting to circulate through, wait a minute, I've heard about them. I've seen them. I never cared. But I'm interested now. Because if they're like these people that we just saw on last weekend, all of a sudden we are all anticipated to see what's coming next down the line for them. The substance is what's keeping people wanting to come back. The shock is just to get you in the door and then say, you were here for a good time, not a long time. Now it's time for us to go home. But the substance has gotten people invested. That's what's going to stay. And that's why these shock value events is dwindling down. It's got to get more exaggerated because it's losing its luster. It's losing its personnel. It's losing its enticement on the public. Its entanglement. It's losing that. And because of that now, it's all the better for it. And the sport can actively grow like it's supposed to its zenith night. Thankfully. Thank the Lord. Finally, it can be what it's supposed to be. Thank goodness. But again, before we continue, before we go to the championship rounds, we still got something else that we need to talk about in the world of boxing, which is David Benavidez and the power shift that he's incurring with his career trajectory, as we've seen as time has gone on throughout, in light of the fight that he had with in light of Canelo and Crawford and the outcome of that, we have been saying that with Canelo and Crawford, this fight is going to be a big deal. It was a big deal. Big shift in regards to whatever the way the swings and flows turn. Now we're seeing officially, Benavidez recognizes that with this loss to Canelo at what was the most dominant division he's been in at 168, all of a sudden, the power of the sport of boxing has flown and shifted into his favor. And I'm gonna tell you why, using his words that he said from the horse's mouth himself.
So the way I've seen him handle my presence is he's definitely scared of me. You know, if you have a fighter talking so much trash in front of you, why don't you make an example of him to the world? Beat me in the ring and make a whole lot of money. But Canelo Alvarez, as you can see from every time he fights a guy that's big with power, like Bivol, you know what I mean? And he's not able to suppress these fighters as much as he's able to suppress the little fighters. You know what I mean? So he sees a lot of things in me that he can't stop. You know, not only does he see speed, does he see power, but he sees a lot of heart in me. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, I'm going in there and I want to prove myself to the world that I'm the greatest fighter. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't scare me to get in there with another great fighter because I know that elevates me and who I am as a competitor. So the way
So again, now we know Benavidez was talking a lot of smack, understandably so, in the light of Canelo not fighting him. But now he's getting a little more, he was already confident. Now he's talking reckless now. Now he's saying he's scared of my presence. Now he's saying he understands fully. Okay, yeah, I wasn't just saying stuff in regards to looking at Canelo and saying, oh yeah, he don't want none of me. Walking around, again, he was already walking around with his chin held out. But now, not trying to read too much into it, but it looks like a little bit of that reverence is gone. And there was another clip, a better one. There was a better, hold on, where's it at? I'm not gonna lie, initially that wasn't the clip I was looking for. That was, honestly, it still worked, but that wasn't the clip I was looking for when it came to Benavidez talking about his career with Here we go. I think this is the clip. I think this is the one.
You know, I'm in a great position in every single way. I wasn't gonna go down to 168, but now if Canelo wants to come up, then I got the WBC world title 175. After I beat Bivol, I'm gonna have all belts. So after that happens, now I'm the one who has the power. Now I'm the one. Canelo said he doesn't fight. He fights for greatness. He fights for titles. Well, let me go pick up all the titles and let's come back into the table and talk. I feel like everything happened.
This is the clip I was looking for. From the standpoint, I thought I had that saved. But either way, that's the clip I was looking for when we talk about the bravado and more so the shift in power with Dave Benavidez in his career right now, when it's been normally chasing Canelo, and now it looks like, especially with the fan opinions, since the fight with Crawford, everybody's saying that, yeah, if Canelo wants to really be about what he needs to be about, brother, you've been running from this brother too long. Now, most people think that Benavidez will beat you, or a lot of people think that Benavidez would beat Canelo now. And Canelo been ducking him. He's got to take that smoke. And Benavidez is the man who, and now, unlike what it was, where Canelo was the man to beat. Now, in Canelo's world, it's Benavidez who's the man to beat. Legitimate. And he recognizes that. Let me see. Coach Eddie in Atlanta, how you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning into the show. So glad you're with us on today. We appreciate you coming through with us on this show. Demetrius Andre would have stopped Canelo. I don't think it would have stopped him. Again, would it have been competitive? Probably. It probably would have been. Again, the whole payday situation. You want a payday. Again, he hadn't fought in Overton so long. Ain't fought since the fight with David Benavidez. I'm not going to lie, at least unless I've gotten that a little bit skewed. But hey, what are you beating? Beating him? Maybe so. We'll let see him get back to a point where he's in more vaunted title contention so that he can be in a position to where, hey, Canelo's vulnerable. Let's see you in the ring and let's see if you can actually beat me. And, with the car interviews and stuff that he's done with other people, great. Want to see him fight who he can fight and want to see him do what he can do to face off and beat these people. If he can beat them, no problem there. Let's see him work his way back up and get to the ring. Let's see if he's about that life. Or rather, if his talent really is like you would think he is, or like you say that he is, and fight. And do I think he would have lost? Yes, I think Canelo would have beaten Andre. But even still, regardless of which, put up or shut up, work your way back up. Let's see what happens. Bigger issue. Benavidez now, he recognizes, hey, I'm the guy that controls the cards. Now, this is why I was saying the fight with Canelo and Crawford was one of the most important fights for the likes of Dave Benavidez. Because if Benavidez, again, kept on winning, kept on doing what he was doing at light heavyweight, kept on being dominant, and Canelo taking this fight with Crawford and lost, what excuse is there now for Canelo not to say that he shouldn't fight Dave Benavidez? What excuse is there? And there isn't it. You can't say that he ain't proven. You can't say he ain't fought nobody. You can't say that you're too big as of a name to fight him, and your cachet is too out there for him to be in the conversation. You can't say that he is definitively not on your level, because we thought that you were going to be able to beat Crawford, and Crawford beat you. Now, Crawford, again, is one of the best fighters I've ever seen in boxing history. Again, one of the 10 best on my all-time 10. But still, you should have and were favored. You should have been favored, were favored, and now somebody who's bigger with the skill set that Benavidez has is validated in. He is a kryptonite to you that you have not been wanting to fight. And because he's not coming back down, you going to have to come up. Because what other name is there for you to fight that fits your caliber of type of endeavor? From money to power to talent to skill set, name recognition, greatness as a whole, titles to compete with, all of it. We don't know what Crawford's going to do. Because remember, there's no rematch clause. We don't know what Crawford's going to do. If he's going to stay at 168, if he's going to try to get a rematch, or if he's going to drop and move down to 160. And outside of Shiraz and Billy, and I think Charlo, who just moved up to 168, which again, I'm not high on what he's going to do against Canelo. But even still, outside of those names and maybe a couple others that I'm missing, you've cleaned out the division. So if everything that fits your bill would be him, and Benavidez knows it. And now he knows that everybody else is saying the same thing when they were saying previously that why is Benavidez trying to walk into an arena that he doesn't belong in? Mind you, just like with Tank, they were letting Canelo slide away with the ability to say he doesn't need people. He's too big for certain names. He is over the limit for the standpoint of having the ability to say, I'm too big for you. You're not worthy of me. Just like with Tank, they were letting Canelo get away with all that. Now, no longer. Like I said, it is inevitable that the only road that everybody sees for Canelo, if it's not Crawford, is Benavidez. Because we want answers and we want them now. Benavidez recognizes that. Like I said, he's saying that once he beats B-Ball for Undisputed, he's got all the cards. And everything is in his court. Guess what? Now, the ball's in his court right now. Because unlike before when he could apply pressure and people didn't take it seriously because they thought that, you're not at that level. Now, they can't say nothing but you are at that level. And most people are saying Benavidez will beat Canelo now. So he can use his voice to start talking his talk. This time it's got some substance. From both, even from Canelo fans, it's got some substance. It's got weight on a level that it didn't have before. all because of what Crawford did to him. So yeah, he holds the cards. He holds the belt. He absolutely does. But let me see. Charlo versus Andre. I would like to see that. I would love to see that. And that actually goes perfectly into the championship rounds for this show. Since we covered everything else we need to, we can jump into it. Hey, 30 minutes to an hour. Whatever you all want to discuss on this show today, we can discuss it right now. And the world is your oyster to be able to go through and talk about whatever you want to discuss. From boxing, basketball, football, everything in between. All that can be yours to divulge into in this segment of the show. So let's see what you got. Come on, it's the championship rounds. It's time to work. It's time to get it going. Let's see what you got to say on today. But again, Charlo versus Andre, I would like to see it. Two people that have been inactive, two people that are still looking to climb the mountain yet again. Andre from a long hiatus after Benavidez, and Charlo from a recent fight, or rather kind of a recent fight, on the same card with Caleb Plant. But he ain't fought yet since. And I've been waiting to see what he's going to do still. And now, both of them, whoever wins can further push themselves into title contention, especially with the shakeup of Canelo losing the title to Crawford. And if in the likelihood that Crawford drops the belts, all of a sudden they can fight and potentially put themselves in a legitimate title fight, guaranteed opportunity. In a matchup with somebody, it can happen. It's viable. And at least, especially with Charlo, which his name can still carry, though it is still not nearly as big as it used to be. Again, with the fact that his brother kind of ruined it for both of them, he can still get himself a legit guaranteed shot with one more dominant performance. Against Andre, that would be a brother that could do it for him. And regardless of what we want to say about the age of Andre or the lack of activity from Andre, he's still a threat. He still is a viable contender. He is still somebody who can give Charlo a lot of trouble, and he's still somebody, if he did win, put himself back in line like he wants to. So, necessary fight, understood fight, and I would like to see that fight. Definitely would. Because if all else fails, hey, at least we would get to see if Charlo's validated in him being a real dominant threat still in the world of 168, which would be, I think that would be his first fight. No, second fight at 168. It'll be his second fight at 168. My apologies. But again, we're still the championship rounds. I still want to see what you all got to say. I still would love to see how exactly you all, what exactly, I'm sorry. I need something to drink. I'm getting a little bit parched. But I still want to see what you all have to say on the matter when it comes to the world of boxing and beyond. In the realm of, honestly, everything surrounding the sport. But while we're still talking about this whole saga of who's got power, legacies as a whole, fan criticism and all that, touching back on Canelo real quick, as again, we're still in the laws of the reactions to this whole fight with Canelo and Crawford, and everybody asking and really questioning what can take place for their careers. And the question becomes now for Canelo, well, what's next? What's next for him? Off the back of this loss, what's next for a brother like Canelo Alvarez, who's, again, accomplished the world and still wants to fight against real dominant people? Now, of the names like Charlo and Andre, he could fight one of them. Honestly, he could, just to get a fight back in the win column against a respectable name. At least in Charlo. Andre, I don't know how much weight his name has in the realm of the world of boxing, but at least at minimum, from a activity perspective, that could be good. Either one of those could be good. But does he want to go through the rat race of trying to work his way back up for a championship again? Does he? Or is he just going to wait and go until either A, Crawford makes a decision, or B, Crawford drops the belts and then lets everybody else collect them and then goes through outright? Because now this is the biggest instance of Everything that we were speculating of the weaknesses of Canelo at this stage in his career now got put on display for the world to see in the most dominant way possible by Crawford. Now, everybody isn't Crawford. Understand that fully. Everybody's not Crawford. Everybody can't do what Crawford did to Canelo. Be clear on that. I don't care what you think. Everybody is not Crawford. Everybody's not Crawford. Especially at 168. Everybody is not Terrence Crawford. And again, Canelo has beaten most of the contenders, elite ones, at 168. Again, barring outside of David Benavidez, with newcomers like Shiraz coming into view. And again, Billy, who has been long-standing #1 contender. But outside of that, he's cleaning everybody out. And it's because everybody, it ain't a easy feat to do that to him. It's not. It's not an easy feat to be that dominant. It's not an easy feat to be that immovable. As the smaller man, though Crawford made it look mundane. And because that's the case, it's not just going to be that anybody's going to be able to take advantage of the weaknesses that we see with Canelo now, with the footwork, with taking the power, with being able to stop the more rudimentary game plan of the big swing and miss. It's not. We have to be real. It's not. Though we can see the holes, it was ridiculous to see what Crawford did to take advantage of those holes in Canelo's game. Because nobody else had been able to do it to that level of degree in that complete of a fashion before. They just hadn't. Even Bivol wasn't that dominant from the standpoint of a fight that was competitive and close. This was not as competitive as that fight. At his better weight against somebody who was closer to Canelo's size. Bivol was bigger. He didn't even have a performance that was that dominant. Because Crawford's a different breed. He is. But that does not mean everybody else can do what he did. So no, it's not going to be easy for anybody just to beat that buddy. And he can't easily get back in title contention. So his career is still fully intact and it can still be added on to with titles, with names, with recognition, all that stuff. But the bigger issue than just, he's got holes that everybody just can't exploit. Will he fix them? Will he fix them? That's the bigger question. Will he fix those issues as time goes on? With this being the most complete loss in his career at his prime weight class, is he going to fix the issues and the holes that got him in trouble with Terrence Crawford in the first place? Because we have to be real. This current version of Canelo, we now know there is a ceiling of what you need to beat him. And if you have that, you can do it. It's big, but it's possible. But to make that ceiling even higher, he's going to have to retool and change his style at its core. He's going to have to some degree. To some degree, he's going to have to. He's going to have to. And we're talking about how Canelo moves forward. He's going to have to regroup and retool his style. Because he needs something more now. With as daunting, again, it's still hard to beat, but with as glaring of an issue in what his style and current makeup is as a fighter, even though it's still going to be hard to actually take advantage of, let alone in the same way that Crawford did, he still has got to retool as a whole. As a whole, he's going to have to retool. Because if not, it's going to be bad. It's going to be incredibly bad. And it's going to be a situation where we're going to walk back into the fray of everything that we've seen before. Which is, not everything, but somebody's going to come along and just to be able to do this same thing. And if he wants to continue to have a dominant career like he's been having, it's going to require, even though it's later in his career, a true core shift in the makeup of the skill set of Canelo Alvarez. valuing speed over power, valuing volume punching and less telegraphing, valuing not just the little stuff that he did in this fight against Crawford, because he was doing the small things in boxing that we're saying he wasn't doing in the past, but accentuating those with a different offensive game plan as a whole. That I'm not saying it completely diverts from what we know, but it causes him to be something that he's never been before, or at least get back to a version of himself offensively that he used to be. Because if he doesn't do that, there could be a plateau in his career. Let me see. Miss Queen, how you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning into the show. Happy birthday. Well, look, I appreciate it. Now, the birthday week was last, was it last? No, the birthday week was 2 weeks ago. It was, again, capped off by Canelo versus Crawford. We loved it. We appreciate it. We still appreciate the well wishes, absolutely. We do indeed enjoy and love all the support. No question about it. And I appreciate the well wishes. I'm still living. Like I said, we can celebrate for as long as we need to. Every day worth living is a day worth celebrating. You're doggone right. And so, but no, my birthday was it last week? No, 2 weeks ago. But even still, we appreciate it. Thank you for the wishes nonetheless. And we're still in the championship rounds. I want to hear from you all about any topics of the day. Like I said, it hasn't really been a news-heavy week from the standpoint of big stuff. And so hopefully it'll be better off on Thursday. But so it's a little bit of a shorter show than we normally do. But again, anything you all want to talk about and discuss, we can discuss it right here, right now. And I'm not going to lie, it's looking a little bit dry. So we might have to just do the last call sooner than we normally do. So we're going to do the last call right now. If there's anything else anybody wants to discuss, we can talk about it. If not, we can end the show. We don't gotta, like I said, we don't gotta drag on all the time. We don't want to force stuff to happen. Just let it come to you. It's like in the boxing world. You let stuff come to you. Sometimes it's better off to force and make it, and make a turnaround. Other times, if you try to force it, guess what? You're making mistakes. Next thing you know, boom, you get knocked out. And we don't want that at all. We don't want that at all. So, last call. Anything anybody else wants to say on this show for today? Whether it's Tank, whether it's Benavidez, whether it's Canelo, whether it's Crawford, whether it's legacies, whether it's Shakur Stevens, Anyway, if anybody wants to discuss more on that front, what are you going to do against Picasso later on in December? Early predictions for Junto Nakatani versus Anyway if we see him get over the hump of Picasso later on in the year. Other pitfalls do you push back against that Tank is overhated by the public? Do you think he is overhated in your mind? I want to hear from you if you got anything to say. But if not, it's completely fine. We're going to be back on Thursday, talk about more in the boxing. Let me see. We got something else. Hold on, wait a minute. Love King, Keith Thurman versus Fundora. Who wins? Now, honestly, I was going to touch on that fight on Thursday more than today. But we can give you a brief preview of who's going to win that fight. I truly think that Fundora is going to win. I think Fundora is going to win. I do. I think Fundora is going to win. And if it was the Fundora if it was the Fundora pre-Tim Tszyu, then I would say that, yeah, Keith Thurman wins. Because again, I was saying that Fundora was, of the champions that were at 154, he was of the weaker variety. And I thought, no, Tim Tszyu would have been the first time. Then he made him quit. Then he knocked out Lubin. Now, it's not just the height. And yeah, 6'7" is hard to be. Yeah, gosh, he's about a 6'7". That's ridiculous. 6'7". That is a small forward. He would be one of the tallest heavyweights in the world if he fought at heavyweight today. That's insane. That's ridiculous. 6'5", 6'7", that's preposterous. At this weight, I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense. At 154 pounds, it doesn't make any sense. The Towering Inferno is an apropos name. But it's not the height. It's not the height that I'm concerned about for Keith Thurman. Now it's the offensive ability. Yes, defensively, he's still not phenomenal. He still can get tagged. Still gets rocked and still can get hit. He still can get clipped and get knocked down. He can't. Those openings are still there. But it is the offensive ability that I've seen get refined and get better, both on the outside and on the inside. Initially, it was just the inside work that was his most destructive feature. Now, this man's he is attuned to using that near 80-inch reach to render you obsolete. He wasn't doing that before. He wasn't. The biggest thing with Fundora was he was 6'5" or 6'7", however tall he is, but he would fight on the inside. And he still can. But his jab and his outside use of his length was not being used to the fullest of its extent. Mind you, against Tim Tszyu, he was getting beat before the cut because Tim Tszyu was beating him with straights on the outside, outworking his jab with his power right hand. And it was successful because he wasn't able to be what he needed to be as an outside fighter. Now, in that fight, he started to use his jab a whole lot more as the fight became bloodier and bloodier. And it was working. It was the start of the evolution. Then, Lubin finished out. He got rocked. He did get rocked. I believe he got rocked and he got knocked down. But still, offensively, he came back and then was doing some good stuff. And then afterwards, brother, against Tim Tszyu again, that offensive array with the length, the straight right hand, the 1-2 down the pipe, on top of the refined work on the inside with them uppercuts and hooks, beating Tim Tszyu at every single area. Yeah, this is a better fighter. This is a better fighter than what was up a year or two ago. And this Fundora gives Keith Thurman, even now, he gives him a lot of trouble. He gives him a lot of trouble. And this is Thurman off the backs of, again, not as much activity. Jarvis is not Fundora at all. Jarvis is not Fundora at all. From ability, skill set, and power. And just as a fighter as a whole. It's not. So I got my doubts. I really do. It's a great fight, and I'm excited to see it. But I think we're going to see Fundora win. I think we're going to see Fundora win. I really do. I'm looking forward to the fight. Should be a good one. Thanks for answering my question. Hey, no problem. Absolutely. Like I said, it was later on in the show. We were getting ready to get out of here. But look, like I said, that's why I did last call. That's exactly why we did last call. To make sure anybody could get their stuff, could get their stuff off that they wanted to say for the show. Now, again, we're going to talk about that fight more so Thursday, Friday. Absolutely. Get more in-depth and in detail. Because, again, the structure of the shows I got for the week, that's more so predicated in. So come back. We're going to have more conversation on it. We're going to delve into it a little bit deeper. Talking about Fundora, talking about Thurman and his ability, or potentially what he's gained and what he still has lost that we haven't seen back in the ring from what he used to be as a fighter going from when he was at his best at 147. What he's still trying to get back to. We can still talk about that on Thursday and on Friday. Oh, definitely, absolutely. We're going to have more conversations. But it's for today. Because we don't want to overly try to push the show. I think we're going to try to end it off as is and end on a high note. But let me see, Fundora 5'2" here was, shoot. You know what? And this is Big Ma, like you got on your, like I got on the profile pic. To you, everybody looks 5'2", because you're sticking, 200 feet tall? However tall you are. Doggone it, no wonder you think that brother's short as can be. But not. That brother, he tall. He tall as all get out. He's ridiculous, man. And so I can't wait to see that fight. No question about it. But I think we're going to wrap this show up and send it home and let y'all enjoy your weekend. And I'm going to get ready for Thursday and Friday as well. Get some clips out and all that stuff. Make sure I get this podcast up for the show, or up for everybody to listen to on end of the day today. So we can make sure we stay on schedule. So with all that being said, this has been a shorter, but still very much great Watch Report show with me, your host, Jean-Luc Welch. I'm so glad you've been with us all today. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Please, if you can, leave a like on the stream before you get out of here. Comment your thoughts and opinions on whatever you want to discuss on the show, or rather what you liked and didn't like about the show. Be sure to go through and subscribe to the channel. Join the Empire. Hit the notification bell so you know whenever we post right here on YouTube and on every podcasting platform imaginable. Also, be sure to go through and, what was the other thing? Oh, if you want to give to the show and keep this show going, help us to invest back into the show, we got Cash App, we got PayPal, we got links down below in the description. If you would like to give to the show, it would mean the world to me, and we appreciate all the support, we appreciate all the love, and we can't wait to be back with you all on Thursday. Again, more stuff on Fundora, more stuff on the likes of Tim Sue and that fight. We're going to talk more in depth with the legacies of a couple fighters like with Canelo, Crawford, and a couple other folks around the boxing world, and any other news that comes out. And be sure, again, bring your questions, bring your thoughts, bring your opinions, because you all help drive this conversation. I promise you, all your points are substantive, valid, and we want to hear your opinions on everything, because you all help drive the sport just like you help drive this show, and we appreciate it oh so much, and I can't do this without you. And so I love it, I appreciate it, and we're going to be back next time. So I've been Jean-Luc Welch. Y'all have a wonderful peace and love. We are out of here. Yes, sir. We are going to see you all on Thursday. Be safe, be blessed, and we are out of here.